The weird world of crowdfunding Tumblr scams is the 6th exclusive episode going out to Patreons and YouTube members. So if you guys want to be seeing this, along with how to survive COVID-19 according to Kickstarter, the terrible Kickstarter and Indiegogo bulletproof backpack, the almost fatal Kickstarter, crowdfunding's weirdest sex toy scam, and crazy coronavirus Kickstarter scams, then all you gotta do is sign up and support the show. Anyway, let's get on with this video. Who here remembers the game Stalker? Yeah, Stalker. That game that not too long ago was announced to be getting a sequel. Expected to be released in 2021, this sequel is essentially the first proper full-length sequel since the original games launched back in 2007, with the odd couple of mini-sequels, if you will, that came out in 2008 and 2009. To say fans are excited is an understatement. If you grew up playing first-person shooters back in the mid-noughties, then there's a good chance that you played this game, and honestly, I haven't really heard any negative press surrounding it. Now when it comes to this type of horror-esque post-apocalyptic first-person shooter type game, let's be honest, as good as the Stalker series is, it's far from original. In fact, you could go as far as to say that the competition kinda did it better. Well, that would obviously come down to each individual's taste, but to call a Kickstarter that's similar to this as plagiaristic or even stolen, well, it would need to be so much more than just another post-apocalyptic horror-like first-person shooter, right? Exactly. But don't you worry guys, because I just found that game. I wanna take you for a ride. Welcome to Kickscammers, the crowdfunding scam show where I go looking for the absolute worst Kickstarter, Indiegogo and GoFundMe that I can and relay that information back to you lovely people. And today we are going to be talking about Areal, a game, obviously before Stalker 2 was announced, that all of the fans desperately wanted because it was pretty apparent that the original developers weren't going to be making a proper sequel until now. Yes, Areal was a game that didn't show all of that much in its campaign video, but at the same time, it almost earned a hell of a lot. With so many news articles covering this absolute mess, I've decided to piece it all together myself and explain to you what really happened as best I can with the evidence that's available in Kickstarter's Stolen Stalker game, which, by the way, actually has the craziest endorsement of any video game ever. Seriously, you just wait for it. June 24th, 2014 was the day that this campaign went live, asking for $50,000, which, let me tell you right now, it smashed. Now apparently this incredibly ambitious looking title wasn't exactly copying the ideas and style of Stalker, it was essentially a brand new game in the series by the original developers. Everything fans wanted, besides the name of course. Now it's worth remembering that this was 2014, a time when nothing had been heard of from the original developers for years. In fact, there were rumours of a proper Stalker 2 development being cancelled, circling around in 2011 before being confirmed in 2012, and fans were getting a little desperate. It didn't matter that the campaign was a little too ambitious, asking for only $50,000. It didn't matter that the new studio was apparently based in Ukraine, yet the campaign stated otherwise. It didn't matter that they were pushing to create all of this on a brand new game engine and to release beta versions the following year. And of course, it didn't matter that the new studio was promising way too much, claiming that this was going to get released on the PC, Mac, Linux, Xbox One, PlayStation 4 and of course the Wii U, again with a goal of only $50,000. Fans wanted this game to exist. Regardless, the campaign was doing well enough to probably get funded, even though all of these red flags were popping up all over the place. Just like all campaigns, the backers mostly consisted of casual backers that looked at it and were like, oh, cool, a new Stalker game. I used to play that, yeah, I'll back it, and not really bothering to look at anything else. But thankfully there were a few people out there that saw this and wanted to dig a little deeper, especially as plenty of news sites such as Kotaku, Forbes and Vice News were slowly popping up during its life, and honestly they didn't have the greatest things to say about this project. I mean, you guys can see the trailer yourselves. It's not exactly shot badly, but for a game that's supposed to be coming out only a year later for beta testers, there's not a lot going on here, is there? And the follow-up gameplay trailer to keep people happy that came out shortly after, yeah, that looked about as bland as the original campaign video, didn't it? It was obvious to all who were watching that it wasn't all that far along. Anyway, besides all of the big sites covering it, another site called WThunder.com, which unsurprisingly isn't around anymore, covered the story and decided to dig even deeper, and what they discovered was pretty hardcore. After having written a somewhat careful article about the game's Kickstarter when it was first launched, mainly due to the Wii U stretch goal, the website put out yet another article a couple of weeks later during its life showing off how scammy the campaign actually was. You got images ripped directly from Unity's medieval utility screenshot with a little bit of photoshopping in an attempt to cover all of that up. More asset stealing examples were shown with the soldiers in the game. And this is probably my favourite part of the entire scam. The guys were so desperate to prove that this was, a real thing, and they did that by, and I'm never going to say this again for another video I ever do, ever, they claimed that Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, was a big supporter of the game. Here is the letter, definitely sent to them by the Russian president, who was definitely not too busy with the Ukraine crisis and MH17 disaster for the time, which translates to this.
Dear Eugene, my daughter told me about your game called Areal, which is the spiritual successor to Stalker, and told me that she paid money to support your project on Kickstarter. I also love video games as well as shooters, and I like this idea. It's important now people do not shoot at each other, but instead play games like this. The first part of Stalker took place in the Ukraine, and in the second game Areal, you put all events in the centre of Russia. And if this is a war with mutants in a video game, then that is very interesting. I attentively familiarised myself with your idea, and I really like it. If you give me the chance to play the alpha version of the game when it is ready, then I invite you in advance to the Kremlin to meet personally, be ready to play a little bit, and talk about the interests of young people, the gamers of our country. Best regards, Vladimir Putin.
I mean, there's no way to disprove this at all, but come on, this didn't happen. Moving on. There was obviously rumours that fake pledges were being pushed through too as the campaign came close to a close with only 3 days left to go, which obviously helped it get over its goal, and these claims became even more realistic as a good portion of backers had seen all of the mess unfold and put down their pledges to only $1 to, see what happens. Shortly after, it hit its goal due to a $10,000 pledge. That nobody claimed was theirs, by the way. Updates started pouring in, shouting out against these articles that very quickly drew doubts against the campaign, literally with only just over a day to go until they could pull it all back. These updates were pretty hardcore, publicly calling out the individuals who were reporting on this mess and the people who were commenting against the project too. It really did rub people up the wrong way, and the comment section, as you can imagine, were filled with people angry that the campaign owners refused to answer genuine questions, such as, is the video made in Unity, which many believed that it was, even though that they claimed otherwise, and spoiler alert, eventually they admitted it. And of course, what's the budget breakdown? Because everybody agreed even from the get-go that $50k just was not enough for what they wanted to make, which sounded like a AAA game. These were standard questions, by the way, guys, that the team either completely ignored or said that they were getting trolled and therefore didn't answer them. This could be proven even more when you look at the Reddit Ask Me Anything, because so few of the hard questions ever got answered, if at all. Anyway, it doesn't matter, does it? Because all of this hullabaloo caught the attention of Kickstarter themselves, who cancelled the project just 2 days before they were able to pull in $64,928 from 1,090 backers. Although, how many of these were actually real pledges? I guess we'll never know. And that was the end of that, right? Obviously not. Now, the Stalker games up to this point were obviously made by quite a large group of individuals. So the big question is, who was working on Areal? You got Eugene Kim, Peter Dushinsky, Eugene Tushkinich, and Yuri Negorobrov. Yes, you got plenty more faces on the Kickstarter page, but again, not many, and definitely not enough to do everything that Areal promised. And because of this, plus all of the obvious lies about the game's development and shady answering, several ex-team members who also worked on the original game series started coming in to shout about this being a scam. There was a lot of back and forth between these individuals and the people running the campaign. It's a scam. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. It was pretty boring to research, and I'm not going to waste your time going through every tiny little thing here. However, if you are interested in looking into it a little bit more, I'll leave an article down below from VG247.com so you can look into it yourself. However, what is interesting is the fact that the campaign, as stated, claims that its development team is in Ukraine and Las Vegas. Why is this? Well, that would be because if the campaign was a success and did go through, it would not have gone to the team, but instead Leonard Kovtun, who is believed to be an investor in the game who answered the call early on when the team was looking for investors. Now, again, I cannot confirm that this was exactly how they met, but at some point they definitely did meet. Now, Leonard is heavily in bed with another guy called Maximilian Kovtun, who have shared the odd court case together when the odd felony had popped up. None of this, of course, is relevant to this campaign, so I'll move on. Now, excuse me whilst I jump around timeline-wise here a little bit, just to show you guys how many campaigns these two individuals have been involved in, including Space Pioneer, a failed Kickstarter that was for another game that again didn't really show any gameplay footage whatsoever, but promised to be the definitive space-based game of our time, letting you explore space, obviously, and build up colonies on random planets. In other words, I think it was trying to be No Man's Sky, but with real astronauts helping create it. Again, I'm not sure, as it didn't hit its goal. However, you can still back it on another crowdfunding site called WThunder, which we'll get to in a bit, or via PayPal, which according to the comments, plenty of people did, and you guessed it, this game never got made. Then of course you have the first nuclear energy power station in space. That one was not only a stupid idea, but I'm guessing didn't pull in the money that they was expecting with its flexibly funded goal. In other words, it didn't matter if they hit their goal because they were going to be getting the amount of money they earned anyway, and well, what do you think? Do you know of any nuclear power plants in space that got made for $150? Me neither. And more recently you have The Travel Mate. Yes, I've brought this one up a few times already, haven't I? The suitcase that follows you around, and well, not a whole lot else. With its crazy late delays, never delivering anything, this campaign snagged $8,903, again with another flexibly funded campaign, and another $788,420 on its second campaign, and is now basically just playing the delay game, so that credit card users run out of time to claim for their money back. When that time does come, of course, expect to see the usual, I'm sorry, we ran out of money post, if you're lucky. Most of the time these campaigns just simply stop posting. The reason why is because, like I said, by this point it'll be too late for you backers to complain for a fraudulent refund from the bank. Now obviously, this is just my opinion, but considering these guys have been found to be deleting negative comments and just, not going ahead with anything that they've promised, crazy amounts of delays, I'm pretty certain that it's never going to get fulfilled. Hey, if it does end up coming out to all of the backers, then maybe I'll make a follow-up. And no, I will make a follow-up and I will apologise. But considering I've looked at it, the shitty Kickstarter subreddit have looked at it, the Stalker subreddit have looked at it, and my own Kickscammer detective agency have looked at it, and we've all come to the same conclusion, I think it's a pretty safe bet to say you're not getting your suitcase. Anyway, that's Leonard. Enough of all of his failed campaigns that have netted him hundreds of thousands of dollars and never delivered at all, because Areal, well, that didn't hit its goal, did it? And it was on Kickstarter. What I'm saying is that they didn't reach their goal and therefore didn't make any money. That was until they also popped up on WThunder under the new name STALKER Apocalypse. Now, WThunder, this is a crowdfunding site that unsurprisingly no longer exists. I don't want to call it fake, but I'm going to. Looking around, the only thing that I can find online that was promoted for this website was STALKER Apocalypse, and everything else didn't get any real investment. But was it actually fake? Well, a lot of people came to that conclusion. In fact, a lot of people thought that the Areal team made the crowdfunding site themselves, but as we already know, that can't be true because Nuclear Energy Space Station made its way on there at some point before the Areal campaign. So of course, to tackle this, WThunder, which was also known as Worldwide Thunder, put out a statement disproving this on mcvuk.com, which read, Worldwide Thunder has sent out a statement distancing itself from West Games, the people behind STALKER Apocalypse, claiming the developer did not make the website and that the crowdfunding campaign will continue. This confusion came out because Leonard Cofton is a member of our company, read a statement. He knows West Games and showed our platform to them. Unfortunately, some people jumped to conclusions and wrongfully associated us as one and the same. WThunder is a platform that gives people unique social options and great degree of creative freedom, blah blah blah. Yes, Leonard is connected to the WThunder as well as Areal as well as STALKER Apocalypse. Obviously after this, nothing much came from STALKER Apocalypse. The true original Stalker team got back together shortly after to work on a new project and stated in a Polygon article that the team has neither the expertise nor the permission to make a Stalker game. We started to develop a Flash-based, a web-based Stalker before 2011, an isometric open world Stalker, and that was these guys. When we realized that this project would not be as good as we wanted it to be, we closed the project. They are trying to steal money from people with this crowdfunding website, with Kickstarter first, and now they are using some weird other platform. Who is so stupid as to give them money? These guys do not even have an adequate team to make a game half as big as the original Stalker, let alone a full game. They also stated that they had no concerns with the company, but if they ever did try and bring an unauthorized Stalker game to market, they wouldn't hesitate to take action. And guess what? That game never made it to market. Wow, what a mental rabbit hole. Honestly, I don't think the devs are completely to blame here. I mean, there is still no excuse for lying about filling your game up with Unity bought asset sets and basically just being shady as during the campaign's life. And oh yeah, of course, stealing the name of their game, which they definitely did. But my guess is that Leonard led them down a rather dodgy path. If this campaign was funded, would it have ever got made? Hell no. Nothing this man has ever touched, from what I can tell, has ever been completed. STALKER Apocalypse the game was a game that many wanted, nobody got, that was being puppeteered secretly in the back end by a guy who had more failed projects under his belt than some of the worst I've ever covered. But unlike those campaigns, until now, he has done a pretty good job at hiding in the shadows. Hey there guys, many thanks for checking out the video. Oh yes, if you guys want to see all of the exclusive Kickscammer exclusive episodes, there'll be a link down below for you guys to become a YouTube member or a Patreon, just so you can do that very thing. So yeah, thank you very much to all of my Patreons and YouTube members who support the show every single month and allow me to do videos like these, with an extra big shout out going to Aaron Gorman, Andrew Dalton, Andrew Ward, Arista, Benjamin Guy, Big Rico, Bram Perez, Brandon Gold, C64 Television, Cheshire 1, Chris the Rottweiler, Clan Bob, Conrad Constantine, Cromilla, Daniel Terrazes, David Yaron, Dina81, Dr. J, expert in moonology, Elf Daughter Crafts, Game Apologist, Gary Pinkett, Grody Grungus, Hut, Intrigued Gaming, Jabba Al Aiden, Jacob P, aka Avalon James, Jeff Ladd, Jeff Mianowski, Jeremy Rodriguez, Jonathan Hayward, Kevin King, Kinglink Reviews, Lucas Softail, Lipped, Man of God 9000, Marcus Kingimo Cut Tyndall, Michael Towns, Mike Martin, Mr. Golden, Nicholas Burton, Nick Pollard, Nightwill, Papa Zane, Petty Mew, Pretendo64, RetroReversing.com, Retro to Next Gen, aka Lou, Richard Alderjick, Richard Carter, aka Fantastic Dizzy, RL Sloan Friendly Competition at Audible.com, Rocket Plod, Ronnie Method SSWB, Rovan Army, Ryan Holt, Sashi Dog, Samuel Nilsson, Shadow Dragon, Solix Captor, Steven, Sushi Joe, Taylor Rainwater, That Gamer, The Cunning Linguist, The Shaded J, Tim Labonte, Tim Lund, Todd Bullfloat G, Trans Rights, Vike Echo, Wobbles and Bean, The Wonder Ducks, and Ye Old Hamburger. Like I say, these guys support the show every single month and wouldn't be able to do YouTube without them. So thank you all so much. If you guys want to support the show, there'll be links down below. I've said it all before and I'm not going to say it again. So this is DJ Soap signing out, and hopefully I'll see you all next time.